Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the January 2nd, 2018 meeting of Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E. Happy New Year to all. I will ask the secretary to call the roll.
6001,
Present.
6002, present. 6003,
Present.
6004,
Present.
6005,
Present.
6006, 6007.
Present.
We do have a quorum to conduct official business. A couple of housekeeping notes for folks that are unfamiliar with the building. Bathrooms are to the right as you exit this door. Please silence your electronic devices so that the proceedings are not disturbed, and proceedings this evening are being videotaped. So I call forward former Commissioner Lydia Goring to conduct the election of officers for 2018.
Welcome, and thank all of you. First, we'd like to do vice chair nominations. I'm sorry, chair.
Chair.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Alex Padro.
Second?
Doesn't have to be said.
I don't have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to also nominate Alex Marriott.
Okay.
Chair.
For chair? Pardon me? Second. Second for Marriott? Yes.
We don't need
Okay, you don't need a second. Okay. All in favor of Alex Padro, please raise your hands. All in favor of Marriott, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just like the.
Alexander
Like the
Marriott.
hotels.
Yeah.
Hotel, are you related?
Yeah, unfortunately not.
No. All in favor? Aye. Okay, the ayes have it. Alex Marriott is chair. Okay, vice chair, like, have nominations.
I'll nominate Commissioner Wiggins.
Okay, any other nominations?
I'll nominate Alex Padro.
All in favor of Commissioner Wiggins, raise your hand. All in favor of Alex Padro? Okay, Commissioner Wiggins, congratulations. Secretary, nominations?
I'd like to nominate David Jaffe.
Any other nominations?
I nominate Tony Brown.
All in favor of Tony Brown? All in favor of Anthony Brown? Was it? I'm sorry,
Jaffe.
Jaffe. Congratulations. Treasurer. Nominations for treasurer?
I'll nominate Alex Padro.
I decline nomination.
Okay.
I have treasurer. Any other treasurer?
Oh, Commissioner Brown, would you like to serve as treasurer?
I decline.
Okay. If Kevin, would you like to serve as treasurer?
You have to have a treasurer.
It's an exciting role, guys, let me tell you.
You have a treasurer.
I can take on that role in addition to chair until we find somebody willing to take over the position.
All in favor? Okay, Marriott, congratulations, two places. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Gorman. Should we talk about chairing people in the committees for the coming year?
You don't have to, but you can if you want.
Well, do we have a?
We should approve the agenda.
Okay. Well, I'll take motions to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
The agenda is. Oh, excuse me. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
That was everyone.
Yep. Unanimously, the agenda has been approved. Why don't we talk about the chairs for the next year for the committees? I believe do we have anybody who would like to serve on or continue serving anyway, on the alcohol license committee? Commissioner Padro, is there anybody else who'd like to serve on that committee?
Oh, sir.
Commissioner Brown and Commissioner Padro will be on the All-Call Committee. And I'd like to remind anyone here, as well as anybody seeing this tape, that we encourage individuals in all of our districts to participate in these committees. You can contact myself or any other commissioners if they'd like to serve on a committee. And come to meetings. I think they're about once a month before these generally. Moving on, the zoning committee. Who would like to serve on
I'd
the
like to
zoning?
serve on the zoning.
Commissioner Jaffe, Commissioner Padro. Is there anybody else that'd like to serve on the zoning committee? And Commissioner Brown. All right. Oh, I thought you were.
No, it's just-
Oh, I'm sorry. The grants committee. Do we have anybody that would like to serve on the grants committee? Commissioner Padro will serve on the grants committee. Can I get any other commissioners like to serve? All right, thank you, Commissioner Wiggins. Commissioner Wiggins will also be on the grants committee. Public safety committee. I believe Commissioner Wiggins, would you like to continue? Excellent. Is anybody else would like to serve on the public safety committee? All right, I think that concludes it. Is there another committee that we should look at? All right, okay, looks like that's all set. We can move on to reports from our officers.
Very good. Congratulations, Commissioners. Happy New Year to everyone. We have a very good crime report, as you may have heard in the news. We have a significant violent crime reduction across the city this year at about 20%. And for our area in 1D, with the 1st District, you both have 1D, 3rd District and 5th District here, because we all have parts of the ANC. But for our area in the 1st District, which is PSA 103, which is the Surgeon Corda area, we had a 51% reduction in violent crime last year, which is really astounding. I mean, we more than cut it in half. And that's both, I think, community efforts, working with community partners, our officers stepping up, and also developing these spaces in the community to have legitimate usage. I think we've really seen a huge difference, and we're going to try to keep that going for the next year. So again, that's violent crime. That's your assaults with dangerous weapons, robberies, sex assaults, and what's the last one I'm missing? And there's no
Murder?
Murder, yeah, homicides. And then we also had a reduction across the board in property crime in PSA 103 as well, about 20%. So that's all your thefts from autos, burglaries. So really proud of it. You guys should be as well as a community, and we're going to try to keep it going next year. I don't really have any significant incidents to speak about, I don't think, in that area. So if anyone has any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
How much of would you say the decline is attributed to the closing of Surgeon Corda?
Hard to say. I wouldn't
wanna
want to,
pinpoint it.
yeah, put a number on it. I mean, the challenges that we've traditionally faced in that neighborhood aren't solved yet completely. There is still some drug activity. So we're continuing to address that. As we focus on Surgeon Corda itself, we've seen some displacement going to Pierce Street and south into the turnkey area down there by K Street. So we're still working. We're still giving it a lot of attention. We have 24-hour-a-day coverage right there in Surgeon Corda and the surrounding area. I'm sure it hasn't hurt. I'll say that. I'm sure it hasn't hurt, but and we want to see orderly, peaceful, well-developed communities, but we have a lot of partners within that community that have been there for a long time that we're still working with very closely every day, and that will remain there. Because everyone that's there has a right to return, because they're all going to still be around. So we're interested in continuing to build. Then we have a good relationship, continue to build positive relationships with that community.
How many families are left in the development?
None. From what I'm aware, correct, Commissioner? I think they're all done. Yeah. Now that's just the co-op, though. You still have the Tyler House. You have
I think you have a few places that's on, is that M Street? That's still available, where people still in there, but they moving out.
on M Street. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there were okay. If there are some, it's like a couple.
Yeah, just a couple.
I need to check actually. I haven't gotten any updates on where they are in the sales process in about a month, so I need to get back and check with them on that. But the public housing side is still open on First Place, and also the Turnkey, which is the one just to the south. is also still occupied, so it's just the co-op itself.
Okay, I'd like to open up questions for anybody in the audience. I actually have a couple questions. There were a couple incidents on L Street. One was a phone snatching, the other was a car break-in. Last I heard, the car break-in had video, or at least a picture of the person who committed the crime. The phone snatch is still up in the air, and I was wondering if you can give me any updates on that.
Trying to remember the phone snatch. I'll say for the theft from autos, unfortunately, we get such a large volume of those. I don't have details for any one particular incident, but generally, if we do canvass for video, and then our detectives will put out bolos, be on the lookouts to our officers. And we
Okay.
get several of those every day that are emailed to our entire district. So if it's a particular case, you can email me. I'll be
Yeah,
happy to
I'll shoot you
give you that
a bit more
information.
specifics.
The phone snatch, which would be a robbery, I assume, it was on L Street. What unit block? What 100 block?
Yeah, well, it was L Street between 4th and 5th.
Okay, on the northwest side.
Yeah, I think it was early December. I want to say December 5th.
Okay.
I spoke with the detective who was investigating it, and I talked to him a few days ago and didn't have any updates. I
Okay.
wanted to see if you had heard anything since.
No, I haven't, and that's not. We've been doing really well on the robberies. I'll say that, but that one doesn't ring a particular bell. I'd have to go back and check on that one as well. Was it a guy on a bicycle? Is that what it was?
I believe the car break-in was. They have like
snatch?
a video. The snatch, I don't know if that was on I don't believe it was on a bike.
One development, okay. I only mention that because that is one development we've seen in that area, that around Union Station and up into that area is young men on bicycles snatching phones out of people's hands. Pretty agile, actually, but, so that's one of the themes we've seen, but I'm sorry, Commissioner, I don't have the details, but I'll be happy to provide them to you.
All right, yeah, we can talk later. Great, thank you.
One, you mentioned that part of the decline might be increased community engagement
Mhm.
or involvement. One topic on the agenda is the NEAR Act, Neighborhood Engagement Achieves Results Act.
Yeah.
And I believe part of that includes police training around how to engage with the community and stuff like that. Have you guys been involved in training over this past year?
I don't think that particular training, if that's something new, but we've always done community engagement training, going back to when we were all in the academy. We do a lot. It's always been a focus, ever since I've been on the department, it's been a focus of, community policing, as we call it. So it's something that's definitely a value of the department and something we push very hard from day one with our officers. So there is training in the academy. There's, we do training with a lot of the vulnerable communities in the city, so the gay, lesbian, transgender, a lot of the ethnic communities that are, a little more of a vulnerable position. We do a lot of training with them. And we also, of course, like I said, we encourage it. I will say our commander, her first job on the department was a foot beat officer in Sursum Corda, so she has really, since she's been here, she's really pushed really hard to work with people that she's known since she was an officer. And so we have those relationships, and we're trying to instill those values to our newer officers as they come up, and also at the first district. We definitely try to do that. So I'm not familiar with the particulars of that
Are you familiar with the
legislation.
NEAR Act itself?
I might have seen something on it, but I wouldn't be able to speak to it. Yeah, and we can't speak to anything that's in the legislative process anyway. We can't comment on it. So.
All right. Well, thank you very,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like the past 6 weeks, I've noticed a lot of the graffiti, both on public and private buildings,
Sure.
and like fences and whatnot. What process as an individual, I don't even know if this is the right lane to be like figuring out how to notify, take care of,
It depends on what it is a little bit. Is it just kind of like
tagging.
tagging? You can report that. So if it's your property, definitely report it to us, because if you want to report it as a crime, as a defacing of property or destruction of property.
Also the 311 app, you
Right.
can take a
There's
picture of
thing
it,
everyone on
yeah, and you
graffiti.
can submit graffiti, it goes through the process, and then
Oh, that's great.
theoretically they should fix it.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tag.
It's just DC 311, you can
Yeah, I
download
had
it.
the app, I just didn't know there was a graffiti feature.
There is. Now I will say we've had some that are like have some hate bias
Right.
overtones, those, please report to us, call 911, because we've been tracking those very closely and we take them very seriously. So anything like that, we do want to document. And again, if it's your own property, definitely report it to 911. But if it is just something you see
Well, there's
and
someone who's going
unsightly-
around writing eyesore on everything.
Yeah. What is it?
EYESOARE and it's called, right?
Oh, and
Apropos though, yeah.
Sorry, I just noticed the other day, there's a camera on the northeast corner of 6th and M.
Okay.
Would that, is that like police, is that like whose property is that
Fifth and-
camera?
Fifth
It's like
and
coming
M?
from the traffic
M
light.
there.
Six of them?
At 6th and M, it's like
6th and
attached
M
to
area?
the,
Yeah, that's probably the regular city cameras that
Yeah.
attach to the shot spotters or the CCW.
Does it say MPD on it?
I can't,
It's a
not
DDOT camera.
It's a DDOT
Yeah.
camera?
All of our cameras have
Oh,
our,
like a
say
red light
MPDC
camera?
on it.
No, it's not a red light
Is it on a
camera.
telephone pole or is it still standing like on a tripod or something?
No.
No, it's
Side of the road.
It's a DDOT camera.
It's a DDOT camera. So if, would DDOT footage be used to figure out who might have graffitied my property?
Yeah, if you file a criminal report, that's, yeah, I would mention that to the reporting officer and that would be something we can check. If it's within a certain, I don't know how long DDOT retains their footage. MPD retains theirs for 30 days, I think, or maybe even less. There's a lot of laws around cameras and there's a lot of different, we have cameras, DDOT has cameras, so,
Okay,
yeah.
good, thank you.
All right.
Well, thank you very much, officer.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Happy New Year's, yep.
Happy New Year.
I'm Officer Berlin from the 3rd District, in PSA 308, which is, for anyone new, not familiar with the boundaries of PSA 308, it's by and large the largest chunk of this ANC area. It's 9th Street, the east side of 9th Street, to the east side of New Jersey Avenue, and then south to New York and north to S Street. S Street. Now, Florida's is 306, but in any event. So that's the boundaries of PSA 308. The crime trends that we've experienced this year are very similar to citywide. We've actually had a bigger reduction in PSA 308 than citywide. It's close to half the amount of overall crime that we had last year at this time. As you mentioned, there's a 22% decrease in violent crime citywide and 11% in property crime, but in PSA 308 it's far better than that. The biggest issue that we've had in the last 30 days, and it's still less than half of it was this time last year, was theft from auto. So we need your help with that, in that keep your eyes open, keep your stuff out of your cars if you can. If you have visitors, if you have people coming from out of town, friends, relatives, guests, tell them to bring the stuff inside your house. Because if something's visible inside the car, the perpetrator will just break your window and go shopping in there and just take change from the change holder, cell phone chargers, things like that. So don't leave anything that would entice them to do that. The robberies in the last 30 days, we had 3 robberies, and we had one ADW gun, which was a domestic, and that was in the 300 block of M Street. That was Christmas Eve. It was ex-boyfriend, girlfriend got in an argument, and
You said it was a 180?
excuse me.
What did you say it
It
was?
was domestic violence
Oh, okay.
involved. It wasn't a random crime. So it was 2 people that knew each other. It was over a child. So overall, this time last year we had in the last 30 days we had 70 crimes. This year we only had 27 in PSA 308. So it's a significant reduction. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask of me? And the other thing I want to mention is burglaries are way down this year overall, which is good. A lot of times, and I mentioned this at the last ANC meeting, when people leave to go to work, go on vacation, we used to have a lot of robberies during the, burglaries during the day and on the weekends. We've seen a dramatic reduction in that over the last 365 days. Go ahead, sir.
First, I want to thank you for your service. I also want to thank the department for the officers who park on O Street near the Kennedy Playground. We made a marked improvement.
Yeah.
However, I think where we do need some improvement, sometimes I see 2 and 3 cars parked at a time on that area.
Right.
And I think we could use some of that same support at N Street Park.
Yeah.
Where a lot of
Okay.
seniors are moving from Canyon Land and from Washington Apartments over to walk to the grocery store. And I still see a lot of activity. You can see hands being shaken, you can see objects in their hand that look like it's drugs.
Right.
And I think if one of the officers were parking that half alley, on the half alley between.
That goes to nowhere.
That goes to nowhere. It
Oh,
used to
yeah, I
be-
know what
It
you're
used to be a
talking
street years ago.
Yeah.
But it's a half alley. But I
Were
think
they,
if
were they barbecue in the summer?
Yeah, exactly. So I
Okay.
think if we have enough officers where they park 3 at a time,
Uh-huh.
oftentimes 2 at a time.
Right.
I think we could have some of those resources at N Street
Right.
Park and try to shut down some of that activity. I know there's not a full drug department now, but I still think their presence in that.
There's a
half hour-
citywide one, but they bounce from district to district just depending on the need and, you're absolutely right. And I'll bring that to you, and I'm sure my sergeant
Yeah, I think it'd be
will
helpful.
bring that up
Quite
too.
Yeah, I think I brought that up last month as well, and I walk past there every morning, and I'd say 3 to 4 times a week I'll see a drug deal happen.
In the N Street Park?
Yeah, and I
Yes,
call
we do.
sometimes.
Commissioner Higgins, is that by, New Endeavors?
Right across the
Yeah.
street from them.
Yeah, right across, okay.
Matter of fact, somebody was shot.
Playground there?
Yeah. Somebody was shot there 6, 7, well, midsummer. But I just think if we have enough officers to go park 3 deep and 2 deep, then they can split their resources. Somebody can be on O and somebody can be
Right,
at N.
or just circling the block.
Yeah, I think it'll make a big difference.
Does anybody else have any on the commission, have any comments or questions for the officer? Yes, sir.
Okay, piggybacking on what the commissioner was saying in reference to that loitering and shaking hand drug stuff, I think you also said earlier need to target 8 and P, the movement from the giant food store to 8 and P. I've talked about that to the various commanders of 3D, et cetera. But I think you have to be much more proactive than you are. I know you personally used to walk that area quite a lot during the summer, et cetera. But it's out of hand now, and I think 3D knows it. So I'm really impressed upon you to move forward in regards to that aggressive approach, especially what Commissioner Higgins is related to. So we're talking, Commissioner. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm not sure, based on the way you described the area, it sounds like you might represent, I live on Massachusetts, between 4th and 5th.
Okay, that's in 307? PSA 307, Massachusetts between 4th and 5th. Massachusetts between 4th and 5th, that's not in,
That's in the first district.
yeah, that's a little south of us. Yeah.
Never mind.
You might be able to provide some guidance.
Oh, okay. We've recently, I just got an email from I live in an apartment complex, and our
Okay.
garage door recently broke, and it's being worked on. In the last day, or got an email, that we've had a series of break-ins in our cars, and they don't have cameras down there, we're basically responsible for, I'm not sure if
Right.
if our building,
Right.
besides the people whose cars are broken into, I'm not sure if our building's been in contact with the
Right.
police about a series of break-ins going on, or anything like that,
Okay.
or if it'd be nice to have maybe,
What
A
you
police officer down
what you
there.
may want to do is, if you think about it, if you pull up on the webpage for the first district, they'll have the email addresses of the lieutenants and captains, commander.
okay,
Send all of them the same email,
okay.
and then just bring to their attention your concerns, and you've got it documented. And,
Thank you.
but also suggest, if you can, to whoever the property manager, it does help us a lot to solve all types of crimes, but especially property crimes in many instances when they do install cameras, you get great pictures of people. And we get bolos almost every day of theft and robbery suspects on our email, so.
Yeah, I've been stressing to my building and trying to get
And it's
cameras
the
in
same
our
people
garages,
doing
but-
it,
Yeah.
so.
They could probably eligible for the program too.
Thank you.
You're welcome, okay.
All right, thank you, officer.
Thank
Now we
you.
have,
If I could, I'm Sergeant Terrestri, actually from PSA 307.
yeah, come on.
I just want to provide you with a little information that Officer Berlin, who, by the way, is probably one of the finest examples of community policing, as a community police officer who gets out in the field and really engages with the community. And I think that's what the district is really looking for in their officers now. There's no one finer than him. I've known him ever since he's come on the department, and he does a fantastic job. Officer Berlin, he mentioned the total crime for the city, but I'd like to give you the total crime reduction for PSA 308 in a nutshell. We're looking at total violent crime is down 12%, and your total property crime is down 30%, for a complete crime reduction, total crime reduction of 28% across the board.
That's great.
So that's actually fantastic, considering the efforts that are put forward by the department. I was asked by Commander Emmerman to come here tonight, so I usually don't hop from area to area. One of the other things that I just want to touch upon before leaving is the fact there was mentioned something about graffiti removal earlier. The graffiti removal machines do not operate under 30 degrees. So just a FYI, they don't operate in icy conditions, so you're probably not going to get the removal until it warms up a little bit with our weather.
All right, so we're gonna have to.
I just wanted to put that out there too. All righty?
All right, is there any
All right,
other,
thank you very
any
much,
other
folks.
questions for the officers?
You have
before we
anything?
leave?
Okay.
All right.
Great.
Is anyone from,
Thank you, sir.
5D here?
Yeah.
No, there's no one here on 5D.
Yeah.
Because that is the one that does have an increase, and that's in my single district, so I'd be interested to have someone. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
It's just a 2 blocks, but it's still.
Yeah, well, I'll make a note of that.
Tomorrow.
All right. Thank you to our officers for coming here. On to the next item. We have the public space renewal for the Fresh Farms Market. Yeah, come on up. This is in my SMD, and I just want to tell you guys are doing a great job. I saw the numbers that you guys posted, and they're all up, and they're fantastic. But what I wanted to take particular note of is there was a 117% increase in nutrition assistance to neighbors supported by a federally sponsored nutrition program. I think that's awesome. That's more than double what you did the year before, and I hope you guys keep up the good work.
Yeah, we've been, and that's a program that's run through DC Greens that we work very closely with, and I'm on the kind of board that coordinates with them across farmers markets to make sure that we keep improving it every year, because you know, we're super happy to be able to support everyone in the community. We want to make sure that we're bringing produce to everyone, not just people who can afford it at face value. So that's something we're definitely working on. We're excited to keep improving. And as you see, I mean, I sent this to you guys beforehand, so you hopefully have seen it. I added in just the amount of parking spots, but those are inherently on that street, but just so you have reference to the number. And the one thing that we did just get some feedback from the community on was that people were interested in us running it from starting at 9 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. I know you guys like to provide prior notice to folks, so that's something I wanted to add here. I don't know if that's something that you feel comfortable. I don't know if that's what's actually going to happen, but I wanted to state that now. We're happy to come back and re-review that if we do decide to go forward with that, but that is one piece of feedback we got from the community that we think we might be able to do.
You know, from my interactions, I would agree that, you know, people would be happy to see you open up at 9. You know, at this time, you know, the request is from, you know, 10 to 2. You know, perhaps we get a little closer, we can talk to, you know, Sid and get a little bit more engagement, because from, you know, from what my understanding is, it wouldn't be an issue, but I'd want to consult first with some people who live in 425, you know, before we
Okay,
move forward on
definitely.
that.
Yeah, and we definitely like coordinating with the SID. Obviously, we worked very closely with them getting that new spot last year, which has been great to be able to expand. So, yeah.
Great. Well, do we have any questions from the commission?
Yeah, will y'all be running a voucher program this year?
Yeah, so that will be the one that we have through DC Greens, which is called Produce Plus. So we do administer that, and we also have our own program, which is the Matching Dollars program, which we're able to match food stamps, we're able to match senior vouchers, and also WIC dollars, which are for people with infants and small children on food assistance. So we're able to offer both of those programs, and those will be continuing next year.
So without the voucher, persons that have food stamps can still use the service?
Yes, they'll be able to get, if you have food stamps, you're able to do our matching program, which means if you spend $10, we give you an extra $10, we match it. So you have $20 in hand if you spend that $10. And then on top of that, you're also able to get that automatic $10 from DC Greens that you don't have to pay anything from your pocket. You just have to show that you qualify for the program. So you're able to get within one day $20 extra through those programs.
So y'all be on, y'all have one in front of, Busboys and Poets, and then one on High Street?
So this one, Busboys and Poets is where it used to be. That's when it was a farm stand and it was one farmer. We've since expanded to the new location right by the SID building on that back road. And so it's just that one location for Mount Vernon. We do have other locations throughout the week though, where we also administer Produce Plus and our matching.
Great. Any questions or comments from the audience? All right, with that, I'd like to make a motion that we support Fresh Farms' request and communicate that support to the Public Space Committee for the district, to DDOT.
Second that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimously approved. Thank you so
guys
much.
so much.
All right, next we have a request for support of historic preservation from 1112 to 1114 Fifth Street.
This is in my single under district. Unfortunately, I was sick on Thursday when I met with the zoning commission, but
I don't know, I have some copies, I don't know if these get sent around to people. I can just give you a brief. I got one more. Sorry. I'll just give you a brief overview. So this is, my name is Rich Marcus, I'm an architect, and this is 1112 and 1114 Fifth Street. And it's one block up from New York Avenue. And it's, all these buildings along that block were built about the same time, about 1890. This is, 1114 is there now existing, and then there's a vacant lot next to it. So the intent is to renovate 1114 and then build a new building in the vacant lot. And all these lots are the same size. There must have been a house there originally, I'm not sure when that disappeared. But the intent is to match a similar house that's all along that line of houses. And then so the exterior will blend with the existing line. And then the interior is going to be combined into one common building with a common stair that'll have 8 units. And in the back there are 4 parking spaces. So this might be a little bit light, but here's the existing building. And then there's a vacant lot here. All these lots are the same size. They're all 18 feet wide. And the intent is to just put a new building in there to match the row. We have been talking to Historic Preservation Office, Brendan Meyer, and he pointed out one thing, that all the houses have slightly different bays on them. Some are square, some are octagonal, some are round, and none of them have 2 next to one another the same. So ours is actually rectangular. I'll just go to the picture. So